Hello and welcome to Bespoke Unit. I'm CP, and in this video I'm going to be reviewing Justerini Brooks, otherwise known as J&B Rare Blended Scotch. Before I go any further, this review was undertaken using the Bespoke Unit Whiskey Matrix, a quantifiable review formula. So if you're in a hurry and you don't want to listen to me waffle on about this, head to the description below, look at the link to read the full review where there's the final PDF version of this, which will give you a quick overview of its characteristics and qualities. As mentioned in the introduction, Justerini Brooks is best known for its initials J&B, and in fact its blended Scotch whisky is probably its most famous product. Nevertheless, it is actually a wine and spirits merchant that has existed since 1749 and has been a supplier for the British monarchy since 1761, when it started with King George III. Despite its long history, J&B Blended Scotch is actually a relatively recent product and was started somewhere around the early to mid 20th century. It rose to stardom in the 60s and 70s as it was a product that was placed in a variety of films, and notably Italian cinema. The blend consists of about 42 malt and grain whiskies, including malts from Knockandu, Ukroisk, and Glen Spey, and I hope I didn't butcher their pronunciations. With that being said, let's get into this. And first of all, let's take a look at the Robe. So overall, we're looking at a slightly pale color, comparable with like a Sauterne Muelle wine. In terms of the clarity, it's quite clear. The legs are thin, fast, and if you're looking for viscometric whirls by adding a bit of water, which is basically looking at whether it's been chill filtrated or not, you're not going to see much difference. I suspect this has been chill filtered, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad whiskey. We'll jump next into the nose, and in terms of its overall bouquet, you're looking at something that isn't overly intense. It does prickle a bit. There is a peppery nose feel, not much diversity, lucidity, or complexity. Overall, it's going to deliver aromas with some pear drop solvency, some cereal, some almond, and maybe a soft vanilla finish. And then when it comes to the palate, which is imagine why you're all here, so overall, you're looking at a sweet primary flavor with a somewhat fiery mouthfeel. The opening gives you some of that pear solvency, but in this form, it's like a pear compote. You could use that, for example, in a crumble, some brine, and a hint of fresh walnut. The complexity is relatively simple. Again, the texture is surprisingly velvety, and the maturity, as you can expect, this is a very young whiskey. Moving on to the heart, you're going to get some cereal notes of digestive biscuit, a little bit of spiciness that I would liken to nutmeg, as well as some quite sweet milk chocolate. Moving on finally to the finish, you're not looking at a particularly long finish it's not going to be exactly very full in flavor, but the notes consist of some butterscotch, a little bit of soft vanilla, and a hint of a smoke or minerality, which I have personally thought resembled flint. And next we're going to look at the overall experience, and that's kind of the versatility of this whiskey, the packaging, etc., etc. And here on the label, well, this is quite an easily recognizable label. It's seen just about every convenience store. The J&B initials in big red letters, which kind of overshadows the Justerini Brooks name, which is why people basically just call it J&B, and it's probably helped in terms of marketing as well. The label's quite nice. It has the royal warrant here at the top. I don't know if it's still valid, but it says to Her Majesty the Queen, so it could quite possibly be Queen Elizabeth II. In terms of packaging, it's pretty much non-existent, although this did come in a plastic envelope. The cork quality, you're looking at just a regular screw top, being a blend. The occasion, this isn't something I would dish out at a special occasion. This is something really to keep in your desk on a lonely night or to enjoy in a cocktail. And the value is actually quite good. You're looking about 15, in my case, like 15 euros for a full-size bottle, and this little guy I picked up for about €5 at a local supermarket. Going back to the occasion, I really wouldn't have this as something to drink neat, although it's perfectly acceptable. It's not really offensive. In fact, I was kind of worried about what it was going to taste like and if I was going to pull a face doing this video, but in the end, it wasn't the case. In fact, it's quite mild. It's probably best enjoyed on the rocks, or you can indeed include it in a cocktail, such as a whiskey sour, or even an old-fashioned, even though that's technically done with bourbon, but this does have a mild tone to it, which will make it quite compatible with that. Or you can consider using it in a hot toddy for the winter period. And finally, we're going to look at pairings. Now, this isn't scored at all. It's just here at the bottom left-hand corner of the whiskey matrix. So first of all, what would you accompany this with? I'd say something like milk chocolate, some fresh walnuts, even some smoked trout. As for cigars, and we're all fond of cigars here at Bespoke Unit, I would consider something equally affordable but quite pleasant, such as this Gilberto Oliva Reserva, which has quite a pleasant Sumatran Indonesian wrapper on it. Consider something with a Habano wrapper or equivalent, or anything else with a medium-bodied profile. Overall, I was quite surprised. I was kind of dreading reviewing J&B, but it's not an unpleasant blended scotch as long as you remember what it is and what it is for. This is probably something that you just want to have a cheeky nip of, or you can use as part of a cocktail, probably on the rocks, just to unwind. It's not going to really give you something that you can really appreciate in terms of flavor. Nevertheless, it is very good value for money. It's something that everyone can have as part of their drinks cabinet, and they can turn to if they don't want to pop out anything that is of superior quality. That's all from me today. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, give us a like, give us a subscribe, and head to the comments section if you have any questions about J&B and how to drink it, or even your own experiences. Until our next video, why don't you head to bespokeunit.com and check out all the other men's lifestyle subjects that we cover. I'm sure that there'll be something that you will love. Until then, take care.